the suppression, the use of marijuana.
But
it's
I didn't.
incredible.
Oh, really?
I genuinely, it's very good.
I love that.
And there's a song called World Burn, like
Okay.
I want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And it's when Regina puts her name in the burn book
And
and
then
does all the
all the
papers.
papers.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
And in the chorus part of the song, there's like kids like reading the papers, and it's Trangpak is a Grotsky biatch.
Oh no.
And then Miss Norberry's a drug pusher. And so that I've just been like randomly just like
Mm-hmm.
Miss Norberry's a drug pusher.
Respect.
Yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
We were actually just talking about Mean Girls yesterday because Christmas songs are everywhere.
Mhm.
And of course they're at Mana.
Yeah.
It's the Jingle Bell
Jingle Bell
Rock.
Rock.
Yeah.
And all I know is there's a part where, like Jamie was telling me, where they slap their thighs, but I don't know when it is or
Yep,
what's happening,
yep.
but I know it does somewhere in there. Because I can't seem to remember the actual like dance except what I see in my head.
Yep.
Are you okay?
Yeah,
Oh, you're trying
I'm
to remember
remembering
the
it.
dance. There's a part with Amy Poehler.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep,
that
yep.
one. I'll be sure to cut out all the silence from the memorization of Mean Girls. I guess I could.
I think it's now the jingle hop has begun.
I think that's true.
I think it's
something
somewhere around there. But yeah, so Renee Rapp. Do you know Renee Rapp? The song that's "You Can Poison Poison." I don't know literally any other lyric.
No.
Okay, it's,
We're too old. Sorry.
she's super hot. She's
Okay.
bisexual, and I love her.
I love everything about what you
That was
just
great.
said.
Yeah,
perfect.
she's Regina George,
Oh,
Oh.
and she is just perfect
amazing.
for Regina.
Okay, I will
And
watch.
she sings, so like that's promising.
We love that.
Yeah.
In a musical, that's perfect.
Yeah, usually is a good thing. So
It's ideal.
okay, are we ready?
You want to introduce
Are you
us?
ready?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Are you ready? Welcome to the show. The rules of engagement are really quite simple. Do you know this?
Is that the Alaska Thunderfuck?
Yeah.
Yes.
They play that.
Hi.
They
song?
play that at the beginning of
Every drag show.
single show at DOS,
Mhm.
and it
She
lives.
quoted it.
To is this your boyfriend, honey? Not anymore.
It sounds to me like every time I hear it, I think of the Shiz video.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God, Shiz.
I don't know who that is because I don't know any
Alaska.
I don't know any famous
Yeah.
drag people. I just know
Shame.
this person as the
The one who
like,
introduces
the
DOS
DOS
House
House.
drag show.
yes, and
Yeah.
like God, some of those lyrics are just like
Yeah.
they're not even lyrics. She's just talking, but also like it takes a lot of money to look this cheap, darling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Be kind to your entertainers.
Yep. Yeah, she was on season 5
I believe you.
of Drag Race, and then she won season 2 of Drag Race All Stars.
Cool.
Yeah, shooting as Jamie said, Alaska. I was like, ah.
I didn't even know who that was.
Alaska
hear it.
Thunderfuck 5000
Yeah,
is her
It's
full
a
name.
whole name.
that's a
It's a-
that's a
yeah.
great name.
It's a full name.
Alaska. She also she's in the Dimension 20 Dungeons and Drag Queens.
Oh,
She's
we
Oh,
still gotta
the
watch
one
that.
with the
Yeah.
big hair.
Those, every time I see like a little commercial for it, I'm like, yeah, you got me hooked. I'm just gonna watch this whole thing real quick,
Yeah.
and it's just like so
Gosh, I wanna watch it.
funny.
It's very
Does
good.
Some
Brennan
of
wear
them have
makeup
no
every
idea.
time?
Mhm.
Ah,
And it gets more and more every time. Every episode, it like grows. Because
okay.
at first it's just kind of like dark eye shadow and eyeliner,
Yeah.
and then like as it goes on, it like gets like goes out like onto his like temples and like grows
Absolutely incredible.
Fantastic.
up. There's one part where he like he wipes his head all the like his forehead
Mhm,
all the
mhm.
time. He wipes his head and it smears some of it, and you can just see that no one says anything. You can just see one of the drag queens go and like kind of look at the other girls to see if they noticed,
Do we?
and
no,
just
okay.
no one says anything.
Oh my
It's
God.
very
We
funny.
just let him go for the rest of the time with smudge makeup.
Yeah.
Good.
It's great.
Great.
I'm gonna
Okay.
clear my throat quick.
Me too.
'Tis the season.
Yeah.
Oh hey.
Are you ready? Welcome to the show.
No, you see. Sorry,
Sorry.
we just went through that.
I know.
we can do it again.
Okay.
Please introduce us.
Okay. Hello and welcome back. I am Ryan,
I'm Jamie.
I'm Tia.
and we are the ADHD queens.
Yay.
That had weird inflection, but that's okay. So welcome back. Today we will be discussing The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden, our book for Russia. It was very fun. It's kind of a fantasy, sort of folklorian vibe. It starts out kind of feeling like it's the real world,
Mhm.
and then as you go through the book, more and more fantastical things start kind of happening.
Yeah.
As you get introduced to more characters and as bad things happen in the plot
Yeah.
from a Christian guy.
Do you want to give a rundown of the plot?
Sure. What is the word that I'm looking for? He's not like a missionary, but like it's
Oh,
also like not really.
Constantine?
Yeah.
He's a priest.
He's a
Well,
priest
I
dude.
I know, but like, what's it called when they like force it on people?
Mission.
See,
mean,
it's like
that-
he's like kind of a missionary.
I mean, he's supposed to just be a priest.
Yeah.
That is sent out there, but I mean, missionary implies that he is sent there on purpose to do this,
Yeah.
whereas
Well,
he's
he
kind of
kinda
sent for like
was.
political reasons to get him out of
Yeah.
the way, and he just
Yeah.
takes it upon himself to do
Yeah,
that.
he's just a bad dude.
He
Yeah.
is. He is.
so-
He is. Very corruptible.
Yes.
Oh my
Interesting.
God, so corruptible.
Interestingly,
Yeah.
does not speak to God.
Spoilers.
Okay, so Vasya is her
Yes.
name, right?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to. I didn't listen to this.
Yeah.
I read.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
the way she pronounced everything.
I am
so I will
absolutely
do my
gonna need
best.
some help.
It's
Yeah.
Piotr.
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 Piotr. Okay.
Yes,
Great.
Piotr.
And Vasya.
Piotr and Vasya and Melina.
Marina.
Marina.
Mhm.
Okay.
Marina. So anyway, we start kind of like when our main character is born,
Mhm.
or actually before she's born.
Yeah.
And we get a little taste of this family who lives in the northern woods of Russia.
Mhm.
Is it technically Russia at the time?
They're calling it Rus.
Rus?
Yeah.
So
sort of pre our
Modern
idea
Russia,
of Russia,
yeah.
like
Right,
the
'cause
area
it's
of modern
Ivan
Russia.
the Second, I think it is.
Ivan Ivanovich?
Ivan the Second.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's an actual person.
Yes.
So that's
Is
what
an
really
actual
messed
person.
with me. I was like, so
No, yeah,
what are
this
they
is-
saying?
I mean, 'cause Katherine Arden is like a Russian historian.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
so
has like a
was like,
PhD.
"Wahaha,
Yeah,
I'm gonna spin this tale. That's really
yeah,
cool.
like actually knows the history of this time and the folklore and stuff. So it
She's
is
like,
all
this is
like
the perfect time to squeeze this in
yes,
and like
that's
Yeah.
the dream.
no, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I have a history degree. That is
Yeah.
literally my dream.
It's
Okay.
she knows her shit. So we start with this family, and it's during the winter, and they're kind of going hungry as they do every winter, because the winter lasts like 8 months long, and
Because Russia.
Russia, and they have the husband Piotr
Mhm.
and his wife Marina
Marina.
have several children already.
Yes.
Four?
Four at that
Mhm.
time.
Four at the
There's
time.
Sasha, Aloysia, Olga, and his name is Kolya, but it's Nikolai is actually his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just call him Kolya.
Kolya
Yeah,
is
Kolya
Nikolai
is
is the
what
nickname.
Yeah, you know his.
Um,
They have a lot of nicknames for each other.
yes, they do.
do.
And Sasha is like also Alexander.
Yeah,
Alexander.
which I think is a pretty standard
That
nickname
is.
for Alexander.
Okay. I actually know someone named Kolya, so I wonder if that is if
Oh,
Nikolai is
that's
his real name.
Interesting.
I actually don't know him anymore. He was in one class that I took when I was in like 2018.
I know him loosely.
Yeah, I know that he is a person that exists in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Hello,
Anyway.
Kolya.
Hello, Kolya. So they have these 4 children, and like I said, they're kind of struggling. They're kind of going hungry a little bit, but they are wealthy,
Mm-hmm.
at least tangentially.
Yeah.
And so they're not peasants. They're not dying. They're just living through their winter as they always do. They just kind of are used to having these long winters where there's not a lot of food, so they just go hungry
Yeah.
for a little while.
This is fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And Marina pulls Piotr aside and tells him that she's pregnant again. And their maid, they call her a nurse.
I think she's more. Yeah, she's
Like
more
a
of a nanny.
nanny.
It's like a
Nanny.
nanny sort of
nurse.
situation.
One that gets passed down is usually.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So she's
mhm.
like attached to the family
Yeah,
for like
she's
their
like
entire
part
life.
of it.
Dunya.
Dunya.
Dunya. Oh God, Dunya.
She's
uh,
so sweet.
She
and crazy.
she
Yeah.
tells Marina to
Get rid of it.
get
I
rid
think
of
is
it
the way she
is the
phrases
way
Yes,
that
she
she phrases
does.
it. And Marina says, "No, I choose this baby. I will." And Dunya is trying to convince her, say like, "You won't make it through childbirth because of like you're not strong enough to do it."
Yeah.
Basically, and Marina says, "No, this is my child, and I choose her." And she actually says her, so like good for her for knowing.
She's
I guess
like,
she's
"I
had 4
knew it."
kids before.
Well, and it's like, it's kind of implied that there's like mystical stuff going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Marina, her past.
yeah.
Yeah.
Marina's mother
Was a witch.
was
supposedly.
Yeah. So Ivan the First, Ivan,
I think
the
so.
First,
Yeah.
fell in love with like this sort of mystical woman,
Yes.
and Marina is their child, and
Yes.
she didn't really get the mysticism,
Like, skipped a gen.
and Olga, the oldest daughter, didn't. But she's like this one, so she kind of knows that it's a
Yeah.
girl. She knows that this girl,
She can
baby-
feel that there's something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she knows that it's a girl.
Yeah, so she's not choosing the child like pro-choice situation. It's because this is a child that will have like really important
her mother
impact.
gift.
Yeah, she can. It's like a prophecy
Yeah.
Yeah.
sort of situation. Anyway, and so Marina does indeed die during childbirth.
Mhm.
Rip.
And then we kind of just like flash forward 7 years, I think.
I think it's 6 the first time.
Okay.
So
well,
she's still
7
like
years.
pretty little.
She's 5 or 6.
Yeah. So she's
Yeah.
a very little girl.
Mhm.
And oh no, we got to go back
Okay.
because the story that Dunya tells.
Oh,
Reverse,
to-
reverse.
The story that Dunya tells to all of the 4 already born children
Mm-hmm.
is the plot of the book.
That is so
Yes,
true.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
you're right.
I mean, there's differences, but like I love it when a book just gives you that and it's just like
yeah. Hey,
and
this is gonna happen.
this is what's gonna happen, and then like it's just like the prophecies in like the Percy Jackson books. It's like
Yep.
here's the thing, go do it, and then
Yeah.
they go and do what the prophecy says.
And then you get to like look at it as it's happening and be like,
yes,
hey,
this is the thing.
you told me
thing."
about this.
And I loved the differences that did happen
Mhm.
because it's like this story already happened once. And then now it's like history's repeating itself, but not exactly.
Mhm.
And there's just the little bits that are changed, and that just it was so good.
Chef's kiss.
So she tells the story of a girl who had a wicked stepmother,
Evil, evil
and
lady.
as a wicked stepmother is wont to be in fairy tales, um, and she hates the stepdaughter. Just kind of, I mean, it's kind of like the classic Cinderella trope of like she just like makes her do the housework, and she doesn't interact with her except for to like be mean to her. And one day she goes up to her husband and says, "Hey, your daughter looks like she's old enough to get married," which also yikes, because she's like 14. And so the dad's being, I guess, in love with this lady is like, "Yeah, whatever you want, my love." And then the evil lady is like, "Take her out into the woods and leave her to freeze to death."
Because that's marriage.
Yeah. Um,
Well,
It's
she
like-
she was offering her
to the
to the
Winter
Frost
King.
the Winter
Yeah.
King.
Yeah.
Just like, oh yeah, she'll be a happy little Frost Queen if you just leave her out there to freeze to death. She won't die.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And
Promise, big wink.
and the guy believes it, and so he does it. And then the girl is huddled in the snow underneath a tree, and she hears a voice kind of in the wind, and it says, "Are you cold?" And she, being resilient, says, "No, I'm not cold." And then the wind gets colder, and the voice asks again, and she says, "Nope, still not cold." And I think a third time,
Yep.
he asks, and she says, "No, I am not cold." And so,
And she says it all very politely,
yes,
too.
very
Yes.
politely. She's like very meek, and
And she knows her etiquette.
yes, and the voice then like conjures fires and a house and like warms her body, and it's all kind of in her mind but also isn't anyway, and gives the girl a bunch of gifts, gold and jewels and money,
Lots of expensive things.
lots and lots of expensive
Yes.
things. And so the girl gets back.
Yeah, he sends her home.
Yeah, he sends her home, I guess, on the winds. I don't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
They can read it.
Yeah.
Read the book.
Read the book.
Read the book.
And when she gets back, the evil stepmother is like, "Oh, those gifts were meant for my daughter, not for your daughter, dude. So we're going to also send my daughter out into the woods to meet the guy." And then that girl is kind of a dick. The wind asks her, like, "Are you cold?" And she's like, "Well, obviously I'm cold." Like, very Mean Girls-esque, just like,
Yeah.
I think she asks, like, "Are you stupid?"
"Are you
or
stupid?"
something.
Like,
Yeah,
are you
some,
dense?
like,
Or
actually
yeah.
really rude.
Like,
I was like,
really
okay,
rude.
you didn't need to.
Yeah,
Like,
and
damn.
then
He's like,
he says, "Okay," and touches her, and she dies. She just freezes to death. And then the body gets back.
Well, the
Don't
body
they
never
go
comes back.
look
They have to go look
Oh,
for
they
her.
go look.
They're
Yeah.
expecting her to come back like
Right.
the first girl did.
Yeah.
Yes, and so they go look for her, and the body's dead. And then when the mom touches the dead daughter's body, the mom also dies. Yeah, so then flash forward 6 years, and we get to like the actual plot of the story, which is everything that I just told you, except for a little different.
yes, there's
Just a little.
some nice things that are different that I
Yeah,
appreciate.
I did too. So Vasya is our main character. She is a little bit fiery.
And she's a little.
Yeah, she's very fiery.
She's a wild child.
Yes.
I love that they keep referring to her as this
As
little
the
wild
thing.
Wild thing.
Yeah. She, well, I guess her dad.
Oh, so her dad and her brothers go to Moscow
Yes.
because their relations are part of like the Grand Princess family, and they're like, "Hey, we need wives and we need purpose, essentially, so that we have connections, political
Yeah.
connections. Yeah, all of that.
So she like begs to go with them to Moscow, but she's
course.
only like 6.
Yeah.
So they say no.
You are too small.
So instead, she just sits in a tree basically the whole time, waiting for them to come back.
As a wild child is wont to do.
Yes. And I listened to this entire book yesterday. So
Do you want me to help?
yeah, so this is where I kind of am a little bit lost in what happened, but just because I listened to it at twice the speed that it is meant to be listened to.
So they go to Moscow, and then the goal is to get a wife so that Vasilisa/Vasya has someone to like raise her, because they are hoping to like ring her in a little bit. Does not work. So he does get a wife that's like assigned to him. They're like they like assign these things. And then also who else gets a Olga gets a husband who's also like a prince.
It's Olga's husband is a prince, and Pyotr's wife is like a member of this family.
Is a cousin to the daughter, so it would be like
to the daughter,
his niece.
Yeah,
technically, I guess.
Technically, yeah.
He sends her off because she also has a bit of mysticism, and they want her to go away
because she's like the most terrified creature I've ever seen.
Devils.
Yeah, she sees things. She has later they call it the sight.
Yeah.
And she thinks that she's seeing demons, so she is horrified that she is going to be like taken by God. So like she wants to go to a convent. She doesn't want to get married. She just basically spends all of her days and nights praying, hoping that she can stop seeing these demons.
Yeah.
And then one of the brothers gets a wife.
Kolya gets a wife,
and then Sasha decides that he wants to go and be a part of the monastery.
Yeah,
one of those Christian words.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
He wants to become a monk.
Yes, and he apparently becomes really good at it, which cool.
Yeah.
Dad isn't happy about it.
Yeah, Dad makes him wait an entire year before he actually lets him. Yeah.
And then there's more politics. Somehow, I don't understand 100% how all of this plays out, but maybe that's later in the series.
Like with the Metropolitan and stuff.
Because they're like, they want to get rid of Constantine, who then comes in to play his role.
Because he won't support the succession the way that they want him to, they think.
Yes.
They want him out so that he doesn't meddle.
Right.
So then they
also
there's someone
who has a better stake, a claim to the throne than the actual heir.
If they think that if they let Constantine stay, he will convince people that is a better
because he
instead
can
of
make
Ivan's
like these
child
really amazing icons or artworks that portray like Christian stories, and
just
so
paintings.
He has really good influence over the people, and so it scares politicians crazy. So they send him to priest over the northern woods because Anna is in need.
Yes,
she needs it so bad
because the priest died in the north, and so Anna, with her constant praying and screaming, and they call them fits, when she sees the little demons, which actually turn out to be really cute little fun creatures. It's like the
nice
Spiderwick
creatures.
Chronicles, kind of.
That are just their little helpers.
It's like the Spiderwick Chronicles and Game of Thrones.
Yes.
In Winterfell.
I'll take both of those references for whatever you say.
Oh, no, he's right.
Yeah, I am. So Constantine comes up to the north and starts he starts out kind of fine. He's just like a priest and saying like, "Oh, pray to God." And then like this group of people in the north have traditions that reach back forever, where they leave little scraps of bread and little offerings of food to household spirits that just kind of at this point have sort of descended into myth. Like,
Yeah.
no one really knows that they're there because no one can see
Yeah,
them.
no one can see them, so they don't really believe anymore, but they just sort of do it out of habit. And the stuff that they are doing it for works.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
so
their lands are
their
pretty
lands are
good.
good. They're
Prosperous crops and
they're everything
Children
is
survive.
working as though the demons or whatever they the spirits
I forget
are
what they're
doing.
Oh,
uh,
ch- it's like something like charity, but it's not quite that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to pronounce it because I wasn't listening to it. So
Yeah.
and I don't know how to say that word.
Valid.
But like everything is working as though the spirits are actually doing what they are leaving offerings for.
Mhm.
So everyone just still does it. It's
Yeah.
kind of just the way it's done.
Yeah, so they do that, and then in combination with just going to church every Sunday, and then Constantine's like, oh, hell no. You can't be doing that because then that means you're praying to something that's not God.
Yeah.
And so then he's like gonna take it onto himself and be like, we're gonna put the fear of God into all of you so that you stop doing that, and then you just try to get out of going to hell, which is his only goal, because he just wants to save their lives, quote unquote,
yeah.
which then leads to their
Oops.
demise.
Yep. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah.
You did it so poorly.
Yep.
And then it turns out that Vasya is the only one that can save them all, and everyone hates her because they're convinced she's the witch that's going
Yeah.
to summon demons, including Anna, who vehemently hates her. Even though they're like,
The same
Both.
age.
yeah, they're both very similar in age, and they both can like see things, and they're just like scared of God and all of that, and that's what ruins.
Anna is just like, I'm mad that I see things. And I'm
Vasya's
mad
like,
that you also see
"I'm
things. And Vasya's
curious,
like,
and I
these
just wanna
guys
see
are
them."
chill.
Yeah, they're just
These are just
hanging out.
dudes.
just my dudes,
So she,
living in the oven, sitting in the corner.
yeah. So then they start going away because Constantine makes everybody stop
Mm-hmm. Offering.
and doing all of that. So all of the spirits start to get weaker and weaker and fade.
Mm-hmm. And then Vasya does her best to try and keep whatever she can in order to protect everyone, but that one person can only do so much.
And she's such a small little person. So this
Yeah.
we have flash forward now.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's 14 now. Yeah.
Mhm.
Charity.
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 There you go.
Charity is the name
See,
of the
it's
household
like
spirits.
charity.
Yeah, Charity.
Yeah, and
There's a lot that
There's a
happens.
lot that
it's
goes
just
on.
a lot that happens.
and it since it spans over. I mean, it's not like a terribly long book. It's like less than 400 pages. I think.
yeah. I think she
But-
just packs it with so much
Yeah.
detail.
hmm
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So where did you leave off? I'm sorry. I was looking for that
so
word.
we have flash forward, and Vasya is trying to keep the spirits alive as much as she can. Everyone
Yes.
else has been told to stop.
Yeah, and so she goes through winters and gives them just like crumbs, basically, just
Yeah.
like any little bit of food and honey, wine, and mead that she can, even if it's just a drop.
Yep.
And
even her own blood.
And even her own blood
and her blood.
sometimes.
Yep.
We forgot when
Daddy comes back from Moscow.
when Daddy comes back from Moscow, and before
Piotr.
that, because she got lost in the woods and met the one-eyed
Oh,
man.
yeah,
yeah.
man, there's just so much that
I know,
goes on
we're
in
so
this
sorry.
book.
Good
Yeah.
luck.
Sorry, guys.
Good luck.
Following what we're talking about.
Well, no, I'm saying to Tia, good luck
Oh,
editing
editing.
this in a way that is streamlined.
Comprehensible.
Okay. So when Vasya is 6 years old, she runs away, gets lost in the woods, and she finds this huge tree that she's never seen before, and she never has gotten lost in the woods ever. And she sees this man. He's like a one-eyed man who looks very sad and pathetic, and he's like, come with me. This is fine and normal.
Yeah.
And then
Well, she's gonna ask him for help.
she's going to ask him for help, and also she's like, you're going to die out here if you stay here, so you should maybe go somewhere else. And then he's like, yeah. And then a man rides in on a big fancy horse and is like, hey, leave this tiny child alone.
Yeah.
And there's like definitely like history between the two men, but we don't really know what it is yet. And then he saves Vasya.
Mhm.
He, lets her back home. She's freezing and sad and doesn't forget them, but kind of like moves on. And
yeah, as
and
things
then-
do when you're a child.
shortly thereafter is when Pyotr goes to Moscow,
Mhm.
does all that stuff. And then when he's leaving Moscow, Pyotr then he meets this man clad all in black who gives him this like necklace with a huge jewel on it and is like, give this to your daughter and she should never ever take it off ever for any reason. Bye.
Yep.
And he's like, that was weird and I don't know that I should do that.
And
But
he's
then
like,
he gives it to Dunya
Yeah.
and tells her to give it. But then
she holds on.
she holds
to
on
for
to it and
protection.
she has a dream where
Mhm.
this man comes to her and is like, why isn't Vasya wearing this? And she says, I'm waiting until she's older.
Yeah, because she doesn't think that the 6-year-old should have a giant sapphire on her
And
Wow.
you know
which,
what?
like,
So valid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that brings us to the present.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and Dunya has another dream that's like, hey, I remember this, and Dunya's like been sort of brainwashed by Constantine, and so she's like, "You're a devil. You want to take her away from us. I cannot give this to her."
Right.
And then they kind of like go back and forth, and Dunya eventually ends up like asking, "Can I wait one more year,
Mm-hmm.
one more winter?" And so the spirit agrees that she can in fact wait one more winter. So then another really hard year passes, like their crops don't do well during the summer.
Some people
It's
die.
some people die. It's very rainy.
Everything's awful.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bad time. TM. And finally we come to
Like where I think like this is the last where how old she like the last age jump and she's the year later and so then
I think she's 16.
something like that. She's of marrying age. 'cause
Yeah,
that's
she's of
when-
marrying age. She's actually older than marrying age because her older sister is married at 14.
14,
Mhm.
right? And so she's late because Dunya and Pyotr were like, "Can we just wait a little longer?"
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, we can't wait any longer because
Mm.
they're gonna take her or something."
Yeah.
Because they are convinced that this is a dangerous situation for Vasya, and I'm like, guys,
Yeah,
You all got
they're
it
afraid that
backwards.
the frost demon / winter king is gonna take Vasya and like kill her.
Mhm.
Just take her away and never to return again.
Yeah.
Which is not the case, but that's what they think. And so they're like, "Let's get you married." And
and her courtship is not a great time.
It doesn't go
No.
super well.
He's kind of a dick.
he's 30,
He's-
It-
30?
twice her age.
twice her age,
Twice her age.
and is kind of a dick.
Yeah.
He's not kind of. He's a dick.
He like forces himself on her and everything at one point. Like
Yeah.
not fully, but like still. Like,
Yeah, he like
assaulting.
grabs her by her hair and
Mhm.
like pulls her closer to him and just like treats her very poorly.
Yeah.
And then they're in the woods one day
Mm-hmm.
doing something. I don't remember what.
Nope.
I don't know. Anyway, not important what they're
I
doing.
blocked him out because I didn't like him.
Valid.
He's not there long. You
No,
don't have
he's
to know him.
yeah.
Because he's
Like
like,
2
she's
chapters, maybe.
crazy. Because
Yeah.
he's insulted about her taking his horse.
Yeah, so
Yeah, because he sucks at horse rearing. So
yeah.
Well,
Oh,
it's
she
'cause
can
she's
also
trying
talk to horses.
save-
she can
It-
talk to
she does
horses.
learn to
Because
talk
of
to
the
horses.
because of the little household spirits, there's one that lives in the stables that
Yeah.
teaches her.
Is it her nephew? It's
Yes.
It's
Kolya's
Kolya's
son.
son. She tries to save him because he like pretty much bites off more than he can chew and gets on this horse and then
Well,
like the
and
horse
the
like
horse
starts bucking.
tells her that he saw like a spirit with
Yeah.
teeth or something very scary and just ran off and
So
the
she
kid
has to
shouldn't have been on the horse in the first place.
chase him down and
Yeah,
save
and-
him, and everyone's like, she can ride a horse and she's a woman.
Yeah.
I was like,
And-
damn, I
and
didn't
so
know
he-
this.
The dude's horse is like tied up and she like cuts the rope and just jumps on bareback and without without even like asking any questions or anything, and chases after her nephew, saves his life.
Mm-hmm.
No one says thank you except Piotr.
Yep. And Kolya does,
Oh,
but
okay.
afterward.
Okay.
Like, it's when they're back home. He like
Right.
comes up and
Say
he's
it
like,
in front
"Thank you."
of the people.
Nah.
Thank you.
No,
No.
nope. Yeah, and so then homeboy fucks off and says like,
like,
this
"Bye-bye."
I
She
like a wild girl,
sucks.
but she's too wild, and marriage won't fix her.
Good.
Good. Yeah.
Shouldn't.
And so then Piotr and Dunya are sad.
Yes. They're like, what are we going to do with this child?
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't know if they figure it out, but I know that Anna brings up the convent
They
shortly
do
after.
talk
yeah,
multiple times about just sending her to a convent.
yeah.
Like, God will work his
Yeah.
magic.
And even like Constantine, like they have him express that like, oh, she would be miserable in this situation, but he just
Yeah.
keeps falling further and further into like corruption.
Yeah.
So
Yep, because at this point he thinks he's talking to God.
mhm.
Oh,
He hears a voice
yeah.
in his home, which is attached to the church. So he's like, demons can't get in here, so this voice I'm talking
This
to
must be
God.
God.
And honestly, the voice pretty convincing.
Yeah,
I knew it
Mhm.
wasn't God because it always just said the voice said. It
Right.
wasn't
Yeah.
like God said.
And also, like, yeah.
And also, we're like dealing with not Christianity
Yeah.
around these parts.
Like, there's lots of non-God things happening.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Non-Christian God.
Non-Christian God things.
stuff. Yes.
Yeah, and so he's just like getting worse and worse. And where does the dad go? The dad leaves.
A village that's like in a
There was,
different
like,
direction is like on
Fire.
fire.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
He's going to help them.
Because-
And it's because
Vasya
of the
says,
dead people
"Stop."
are roaming the realm.
Yeah. Yeah, because the spirits tell Vasya
Mhm.
the like signs. It's
Yeah.
like the 7 signs of the apocalypse or whatever,
Yeah,
except
but
for
it's
there's
like only
4.
4.
And so it's
Fear, fire, and then is it famine, or is it just death?
fear, famine, fire, death.
Okay.
Because fires happen right at the end.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then the dead. Not death necessarily, but like actually the,
The
dead,
dead.
dead people.
Are walking.
And Umpir.
Oh yeah,
It's like
the
what-
little. They're like
They're
it's
vampires.
They're
Yeah.
I was
vampires.
like,
was like-
listening
They
to
are.
this word, and I was like, "What
Yeah,
are
it's
these
just-
creatures?
yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just vampires."
Yeah, and I had to like in the Kindle app, you can like press and hold on a word, and it'll tell you the definition. And so I was like, okay,
Okay,
vampire.
got it.
We're-
Vampire. Yeah.
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
I had that kind of figured out by the time they put the stake through one of the mouths.
Yeah.
I still
Yep.
didn't grasp that until
Really?
it wasn't until Dunya had sucked the blood out of Vasya's
Oh.
arm,
Vasya.
and I was like, "Oh, that's what's happening."
Yes. So the bad spirit, the one-eyed man dude, can apparently sort of reanimate the dead.
Yeah, he
turns them into
has the
vampires and
power to
peers.
like do anything essentially
Yeah.
that creates fear and chaos and
Mhm.
just all the
Yeah,
despair.
Because
in
that's
the
how
world.
that's like what he feeds off of is fear, and
Mhm.
like
Yes.
fear of the brave is like the best type of fear for him.
We love it.
It feels
And
so
like
good.
those who can see.
Mhm.
He likes that too.
Yes, because it creates more fear. I think is what the
Mhm.
concept is. But
Yeah.
yes,
Like Anna, like how she's just afraid of it all.
Just constantly screaming.
Yeah. So the dad leaves, and then Anna
And Constantine.
and Constantine
like,
join their forces
of
and are like,
evil.
Evil forces. Yeah.
yeah, and they're like, hey, Vasya,
You're gonna
goodbye. And they say like, you leave for the convent first thing in the morning.
hmm
And she runs away, and they catch her, but then she gets away again. And well, no, first she says, Anna tells her, like, if you want to stay here, go pick me some flowers. It's
Mhm.
the middle of winter. There's snow everywhere.
hmm
They're in Russia.
Literally, everyone's like, "What?"
It's
Yeah.
like sub-zero temperatures. They're like, if you run away, you will die from
Yeah.
the cold.
Mhm.
So
Um,
Anna is
so-
literally setting out. She says like either kill yourself or you're going to a convent.
Yeah.
Yep. And so Vasya says, okay, I'll go pick some flowers
I'll
then.
go pick some damn flowers for you.
She runs, and she finds herself again lost in the woods.
hmm
Yes.
Oh God, Frozen. Sorry.
Yep.
Lost in the woods. And a voice on the wind asks her, "Are you cold?"
Mhm.
You're like, oh, it's happening.
And
You're
so
like,
here's
"Ah."
the story where it comes back and is, I mean, it's the same story basically.
Yeah.
And she, sorry, I don't. Basically, the same thing happens to Vasya that happens to the little girl in the original story that Dunya tells her siblings. And the the Winter King / Frost Demon
Slash all the
other
other.
Morozko.
Yes,
is, like, his name.
Morozko is his
Yeah.
name now. At this point, we learn. He gives her shelter in his house that is neither real nor not real.
He says it's like you have to like believe without believing.
You have
Yes.
to believe that the thing was never not what it is, or
Yes.
what you want it to be.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
So-
like, he takes a piece of straw
Mhm.
and it turns into a brush that he's brushing his horse with. And she
Simply
says, like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And she doesn't fully understand
it,
it,
yeah.
even at the end of the book. She
She got
never.
2 more books. It's
Yeah,
fine.
there's 2 more books.
She got time.
But he says, yeah, like, you can't think, I want this piece of straw to turn into a brush. You have to
just be
say,
like,
this
"This
is
is
a
a
brush,
brush."
and it will work. And she just doesn't kind of grasp it. But anyway.
Which, fair enough.
Fair.
Fair,
I was
That-
like,
I know about that life.
So,
be a brush.
what's his name again?
Morozko.
Morozko gives her all the gifts as, like, basically, like, this can be your dowry if you want, but also, like, you're my chosen one.
Yeah.
And gives her all
We
the
need more of
jewels
that
and
because there's a lot of bad and there wasn't a lot of good. And I was like, why is
Yeah.
this so short?
yes, and gives her fabric and
Everything.
gold and,
And
jewels
importantly,
and
the snowdrop flowers that she was
Yes.
sent to get.
Yeah.
yes, he just conjures them up, and then she kind of refuses all the jewels,
Yeah,
and
she's
she
like,
just
"Nah."
says, like, I don't need that. I'll take the flowers and go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks for
And-
not letting me die of frost.
Yeah.
Bye.
And she.
Oh, and the horse.
Oh, and he gets.
Oh,
yes,
and he gets with the horse.
the horse. It starts with an S. It says.
Excellent.
I just listened
Wait.
to this.
Shka. It ends with a shka, I think.
Hold up.
Is it Slava? No. I don't know why I'm looking at this. It's an audiobook. I can't.
Solevi.
Sola.
Solovi?
Yeah.
Solovi?
Solovi.
Solovi.
Solovi. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Um,
only read it, and I don't know how to pronounce anything.
Yeah,
so
that's fair. Yeah, Solevi
I wish I had the audiobook.
is the daughter, or is the son of his
His
horse.
Yeah.
And he is, like, not tamed, has never been ridden, is huge, and she, like, braids his mane and
Yeah.
tail.
she's
and
like, I'm
it's just
put
like
flowers.
besties.
yes, and
He's like, no
because
flowers.
since the household spirit of the stable taught her how to, like, handle horses and speak with them, she like convinces him to
We're
like,
best friends
yes,
now.
it's very cute.
That's actually one of my favorite scenes is when she's asking him if she can braid his hair, and then she like drapes over him and she's like, please. And I was like, aw, that's one of the nicest moments this
Very
book has
cute.
had.
Yeah, and he's like, no. And she's like, but you'll look like you're the master of horses. And he's like, fine.
Yeah.
He just like begrudgingly agrees. And yeah, it's very cute. A very brief moment of happiness before
Joy.
shit goes down.
Yeah.
So down. Yeah.
Yeah, all of the hell actually takes place. Actually, it's like it reminds me of Chronicles of Narnia when that like big war happens and like they all just run at each other. That is what I visualize
Yeah.
when all of the different creatures decide which side they're on. Although it doesn't seem like they decide.
It does, yeah, because
it seems like they just get called upon.
the naked lady in the lake is like says like, I will be on his side.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, but I will.
Yeah, but I have to.
And so then they all like, whoosh, and then war.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like war between Medved, who is the voice in Constantine's ear, and also the one-eyed man
/ the bear.
/ the bear.
The bear and the nightingale.
Yeah.
Oh, the horse
The horse is the nightingale.
is the nightingale.
Yeah,
because
that's what Solveig
Solveig
means.
means nightingale.
Yeah.
Because he is both a horse and also not a horse because magic,
Yeah.
and he can sometimes fly if he wants to.
She was like, "What? You're not a bird." And he was
Yeah.
like,
Mind your
"Whatever."
business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You don't know what I got.
yeah. So and he's Morozko's brother.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep. They
Okay.
are brothers.
They are brothers.
and mortal enemies.
Yeah. So like
Immortal.
Immortal. Sorry.
Hey,
Sorry,
that was
a stupid
pretty
joke.
bad,
No,
but
but it's
also
actually
it wasn't
right.
not wrong. So yeah, so Medved is sort of like the big bad here.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is like he's not just like the god of death, he's also like god of evil stuff, you know?
Well,
He's not
Morozko
the
is the god of
Morozko's the
death.
god of death.
He's the god of death and sleep, and also frost and
and Frost and
Winter,
just like
'cause,
all this stuff.
kind of.
How-
He's just the good one of both of them. Even
Yeah,
though like
yeah.
death is usually like associated with the bad,
Yeah.
Right.
mean
He just-
gods.
He's
he's
more
like-
like chaos driven.
Yes.
He's just sort of like, I want everyone to be unhappy.
Yes.
I wish that everyone was sad all the time. That would
Yeah.
make me pleased.
Yeah, because
is
he
kind of
like
his
thrives off of
thesis.
fear and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's interesting that those two are polars, but we'll finish summarizing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, our 50-minute summary.
Yeah, I was like, we should probably figure out how to wrap this
up.
a little.
But we still gotta talk about.
I know. So
Anyway, okay.
Somebody tell how the book ends.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Anna dies, thank God.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then
Oh well, Constantine.
oh fucking yeah, okay.
So, oh God.
Anna dies because Constantine is like, I need to absolve my sins of sending the witch to her death
Mhm.
because I was listening to a devil this whole time
And
I'm
not God.
dumb. And then he decides to do the dumb thing and force Anna to go out into the woods because he convinces her that they're gonna go do some godly thing.
As if she were the stepsister in the original
Mhm.
story.
Yep. And then he's like,
Because
Parallels.
parallels. Yeah, because she can also see, and
Yep.
the evil god is like, I want a witch. If he's got a witch, I want a witch.
Yeah.
Basically, and
and he will gain more power if he has one. And so then she just gets left there, and Constantine's like, this is fine and dandy, and then
Mhm.
leaves. And then, jeez, what else happens in that moment?
well, the fight.
The fight
and,
starts, and then he
um,
transitions between being a bear and a human form repeatedly because of the his power fluctuates depending. And Vasia's pretty badass, so she comes in and she's like, I can call upon the little guys from the houses, and they're
Yep.
like, that's not possible.
They can't leave the house. They're bound to your hearth.
Apparently she's strong enough and loved them enough that they were
Yeah.
like, we'll bring our little pieces of coal to fight.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
And I just pictured them as like short little like
Yeah.
yeah, like fat
Yeah, no,
little dudes.
100%.
Yeah.
That is exactly how I imagined
I
these
love them.
the whole
Yes.
time.
And then she also has the power to convince I don't remember what it's called, but the lady that's like from the
lake,
river,
yeah,
the lake.
I don't-
Rusalka.
Yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
the
I have the-
Rusalka, yeah,
I have the
to
summary up.
swap sides essentially, so she doesn't kill her brother, which is great.
Yeah. And then Piotr.
Piotr appears again at a time where we're all like, oh, they're all gonna die, and then he's like, no, I'm gonna save my children, and I'm not afraid of you. And so then he sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
It's all sad and stuff.
Yeah, because the bad guy
Yes.
is like, well, he asks him like, what's your price? Like, how do we end this? And he says, give me your daughter. And he says, no,
Nope.
but you can have me, I guess. And then Vasya screams, no. And then
And-
the bear like swipes the dad, and
Yep.
he flies and dies. And
because
then
he sacrifices himself, it ends up binding the baddie to the tree once again, and then Vasya is really, really upset and heartbroken, as one should be.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where like it kind of resolves, but that's why the last chapter is called At the End and At the Beginning,
Mhm.
because actually the story's not over.
No.
It's only just begun.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, so she goes, "Oh, the last line really got me. It was very cute. Um it's so Vasya like goes back into the woods. Like she goes home and buries her father and is like with them for a little while, and then she goes back into the woods. And when she's there,
Morozko.
Morozko, sorry. I listened to this literally in a day. Um, she rides Solovey back into the woods, and Morozko is there. She finds the clearing where the house
Mhm.
is and isn't. And the door opens, and the last line is, "Come in, Vasya." Morozko said, "It is cold."
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was just like, oh.
That was a lot of story.
Yeah, so I mean,
mean,
it's not
it's-
necessarily like a happy ending, but it's a good ending
It is.
for everyone except for the dad.
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
And
But
probably
also-
Anna.
Well, I mean,
Rip.
she's bad anyway.
Yeah,
No one
yeah.
cares.
She was awful. She would beat the crap out of a girl that was like her age.
Yeah.
What?
So I guess before we get into more, so I have read this book before, but you guys have not. First impressions.
I was mad. I thought, so I was at chapter 22, and I thought that there was only 23 chapters because I can't read. And I was like, nothing
Counterpoint,
is
you have
resolved.
read many books, even just in this podcast.
But then it went to chapter 24, and I was like, oh, there's 28 chapters. Great.
Hell
We're
yeah.
going to have some more ending. And that's when I realized, oh, it's a series. Why did no one
Yes.
tell me? And I
Sorry.
was livid. And it's fine.
Yeah, the second one's The Girl in the Tower
The Girl in the Tower and then Winter of,
of
the Witch.
Yes.
Oh, sweet.
I do have all of them. If you would like to borrow any of them,
Yes.
if
Right.
you need to audiobook, Libby has all of them.
The problem that I had with this book is I could not physically read it, and I tried. That was the first thing I got. I got a physical copy of the book, and I
Mhm.
tried reading it, but because I kept wanting to take notes, I
Mm.
couldn't read it. So I had to buy it through Audible, which I had a credit, so it
Oh,
was
good.
very helpful. But there's so many characters. There's so many
Mhm.
people. I hate the townspeople, but they're there, and just so much happens. So much bad happens.
Yeah, there's very few good characters that are like pure
Just
of
good.
heart,
Nice.
just good
Which
people.
I kind of like how complex everybody is.
Yeah, I mean it's
You know,
realistic. Yeah.
It's, you know,
Yeah, 'cause-
like Sasha, he's like her beloved brother. You know,
Mhm.
she loves him so much. And he's also just kind of like, I'm going to go off and be a monk and I'm going to care a lot about God. Bye forever.
Yeah.
And we like don't see him for a lot of the book.
Yeah.
And
He sends the one messenger for
That
something,
was
but it just
weird.
wasn't. It didn't.
I was like, you want us to fight war? What kind of
Yeah.
monk
Yeah.
are you?
Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
So I was like,
Um,
something's confusing me there.
Yeah, so that's probably a book 2 or 3 situation.
I would
Um,
hope so because
you
I was
don't
like, you
say.
don't just bring this up and then just dip
Yeah.
it out.
that's, oh gosh, this.
There's
whole
also so many
series-
politics that I was
Mhm.
like, no, we have to
Yeah.
come back to these because
Yeah.
Oh.
they're not just like saying this at
Yeah.
the beginning,
Yeah.
ma'am. Don't be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like pulling it. When I started reading it, my first impression was just like, I was like, this is like so many books that I've read before. But then, like, the more you got into it, it was like, this is absolutely not like anything I've ever
Mhm.
read before.
Mhm.
The only, like, there are similarities with the politics and there are similarities with the familial structure and
Yeah.
just like, but it's a folk tale.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like supposed to be
Yeah.
passed down.
I
and
absolutely love how it's written.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful. It's like it is written sort of old timey,
Mhm.
but like it's so digestible. I
Yeah.
think, you know.
And I like that she didn't change a lot of the vocabulary to be
Mhm.
English words.
Yes.
She
Mhm.
left a lot of it. Like there's a drink that they drink that
Oh,
it's basically just mead. It's a
Yeah.
type of mead
Mhm.
with like a very small alcohol content.
'cause
But-
they use it as like a warming
Yeah,
beverage, right? Yeah.
and I forget now what it's called, but
don't
she
remember.
like she didn't change that the whole time. That's what they called it. They didn't call it mead. They called some stuff mead that was
It was different, though.
but
yeah.
and then like all the nicknames for their
nicknames,
brothers, like
yeah.
Lyoshka and
I made a note of that because I was like, okay, these are the same people. They're just adjusting the ending. And I noticed that like the Oshka was usually for boys and the Ya was usually for girls, except Kolya. I don't know what that was about.
So I figured out so her name is Vasilisa Petrovna.
Yeah.
Petrovna
Oh,
is daughter
daughter
of
of.
Peter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Of
That's why
And then that's why
Marina was Marina Ivanova.
Yes.
Because
So
daughter
they
And
of.
because
have
there's
different
Ivanovich and
last
Ivanova.
names.
Yep.
And it was like they would
Vich
always talk about
is,
them with their last
like
name.
son or
Yeah.
son,
Son
of,
of.
and Va is daughter of.
Yeah. So so they don't really have like true familial names.
Yes.
It's like their last name is their father's name
Plus.
plus
So it would
daughter
be
or
like
son of.
Alexander Petrovich
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Vasya Petrova.
Petrovna.
Petrovna. Yeah.
Um,
And
I figured that out and I was like, wow, I am smart. I felt really proud of myself because I was like, why do they not have the same name?
Yeah.
But then I figured it out.
I thought it was just really funny though. Like they literally say it every single time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They were like, it's Pyotr, but it's also Pyotr Vladimirovich.
Yeah.
Vladimirovich.
Yeah, and I was just like, every time you talk
Mhm.
to him.
And so that's like also kind of when I wondered if it was like before I had solidified my stance on it's just their son of and daughter of. I was like, is it like their middle name and then they have a family name, but everyone goes by their first and middle name?
Mhm.
So it's like
I guess that's fair.
Vasya Petrovna blank
Right.
as their familial name. But I don't know if that's true or not.
I mean, I feel like
No, I think
culturally
that's just,
they would just like
that's just
they
their-
like know that that's what that is.
Because I
so
mean
they're
that's how we get like Johnson
hmm
and
Robertson.
Peterson, even Jellison, my maiden name,
like,
was
son of
originally
Jelly.
Giles.
Okay.
I know.
Sorry.
I did that a lot when I was a kid. I was like, what could this possibly mean? And it wasn't until I was older that I looked it up, and it was like, it's a derivative of son of Giles.
That makes sense then.
Gilson, Jellison.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
Very silly
I
last name,
like
I
son
will
of
say.
Jelly better.
Very silly. But yeah.
D. Giles?
No,
Oh.
God no. Other, I have other ones.
Okay.
Just
Well,
not-
I was just curious.
Just not that Giles. Honestly, I could always use a good Giles Corey joke.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Giles Corey is, please look him up. He's absolutely fascinating.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I felt like when I was reading it, and the book is not at all like Pachinko, but it is sort of written,
Mm-hmm.
it is as engaging as Pachinko, and also written modern, and also written in kind of an old-timey way.
Yes.
More old-timey than Pachinko, because
Yeah.
Pachinko was the 30s through the 80s. But, you know, they still sort of, she still wrote it in a way that, like, if you told me that that was written in, like, the 80s, or, you know, parts of it were written in, like, the 50s or whatever, I would have probably believed
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And, like, this is written, it just sort of, like, I feel like understands
Yeah.
the way of talking back then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
and
just like,
and I think that also lends itself to being a folktale derivative. Is like it's meant to be a story that was passed down through generations, and so it's supposed to be easily digestible and easily.
yeah.
And I also compared it a lot to Pachinko in my head. Pachinko, sorry. I do that all the time. Because it, like, with all the time jumps and the family dynamics and everything,
Yes.
it was like it felt very similar. And then with
Morazko, Medved,
no,
Constantine.
Constantine.
Okay.
And I almost like had him compared to the son that dies in Pachinko, that kills himself, because
Oh, I do know his name. It's
Yeah.
gone. We've read
Mozart.
Nope,
no,
nope.
not
Noah.
Mazaza.
Noah. There you go.
I was like, Mosazu's the other one.
The other one. Yes. Just because like they're like
I-
Constantine's like God is the only way, and Noah's like
They're just
being
very
Japanese is the only way.
definite. Like, this is how you have
Yeah,
to
they're
live
very
life.
Too
they're,
black and white for the context.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that yet.
Yeah.
And one dies,
Yeah.
so he never really gets to.
Yikes.
I
That's his own fault.
did appreciate that the bad guy, what's his name? Medved?
Medved?
Medved.
Reveals himself to Constantine and is like,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Gotcha.
Constantine's like, what?
Just like a big, like, got him
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, good for
straight in his
you.
face. Yeah.
This is a
Yeah, it's
good
because
way.
he like truly like reveals himself like in sight, doesn't he? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like the whole time he's talking to just the voice of God, and then Medved just like waltzes out and is like, "Hey,
Do I look like God to you?
bitch." Anyway, the book is great.
The book
Y'all
is
should
great.
read it if you hadn't. If you haven't, why are you listening? Spoilers. Hello.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
But that's what a book club is. Anyway. What's our next
What's
book?
our next book?
in the month of the new year.
Yeah, in January. People pick up.
God, why are we already there?
Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's none of my business. We will be reading the book, The People of the Book by Geraldine Brooks. I'm very excited. This is one of my absolute favorite books.
It's lovely.
I discovered it years ago. It's probably been a decade
Yeah,
now
you
since
made
I've actually
me
read
read it like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost 3 now.
I forgot about it actually. Until I like picked it up again because I was like sifting through my books to try and Marie Kondo it.
Yeah.
It didn't work. But I found it and I was like, oh, this is the book with the book in it.
Yeah.
January
Right.
Join us
30th.
January 30th.
Where we will be discussing People of the Book by Geraldine Brooks.
Woo.
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 Do we have anything else to say about this book though? I feel like
There's so much to say about this book.
Yeah. I mean, we did get a lot of talking done.
Yeah.
We
I
got a lot of
did really
analysis and-
hate the. Oh, Constantine reminded me of Frollo from Hunchback of Notre
Yes.
Dame.
Yes.
Yeah,
very much so.
Every
yeah.
time he looked at her, I was like, "You disgusting man."
100%.
Yeah,
He just
that's
was-
very true because then with like all the talk about how he's like lusting after Vasya too.
Yes, but blaming her. I
Yeah.
was like, dude.
I mean, exactly like Frollo and
Exactly.
This is-
Esmeralda.
No, sorry.
Okay.
Rude.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Ugh.
See you next time.
The suppression, the use of marijuana.
This podcast was brought to you in part by KCUM
Yeah, we could say that.
Please tell me you recorded that.
89.3 FM. KCUM.
Perfect.